Hello, everyone. My name is Nick, or otherwise known as Finance Nick. Welcome to Sincere Systems Business School. Today, we're going to be talking about the language of color. We're going to be classifying different types of people into 4 categories through their, personality, through their approach, how they talk, how they speak, how we need to answer and give our presentations according to the people who we see in front of us. Whether they're individual presentations, whether they're group presentations. Especially if you're presenting something like an investment instrument like Sincere Systems, you need to know how to approach certain people in certain ways and how they think. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let's get to know each other a little bit. I'm into marketing and business dev. I got into my first startup when I was only 15 years old, and I've been in startups and different projects ever since. I'm a massive investment freak and crypto enthusiast, and also into content creation, sort of doing webinars, having my own little YouTube channel. By the way, give us a subscribe if you can. And more importantly, I'm an investor and active partner of Sincere Systems Group. So I'm glad to be one as well. Let's move on. Let's understand the subject a little bit. So we're going to be classifying people by colors, so there's going to be 4 colors: green, blue, yellow, and red. These colors decide the needs and wants of the client, of the person sitting in front of you, as I mentioned before. And also, the goals, understanding a color of a person and making a presentation in line with their needs. So a certain color represents a certain type of personality, a certain type of person. What needs and wants do they have? And how do we achieve that higher conversion rate when we're, selling an idea, selling a project, or just, convincing someone to do something, or, whatever it is that you want to achieve, when you're talking to a certain person. So before we begin, a couple of tips, as I usually do, in my webinars. I give a couple of presentation tips. Try to lead the presentation playfully, with ease. No one likes a sulking presenter who just, cries or, sort of, gets nervous. And you just be confident in terms of, don't be nervous. Whatever it is you're presenting, the only way you're going to look nervous is if you make yourself feel that way in the beginning. So if you go into a presentation, even I know so many times where I've gone to present an idea and I don't know much about it, but just because I walk in confidently, I greet everyone, I speak properly, people listen and they see that I know what I'm talking about. I could even make stuff up during a presentation, which I still do, by the way. Sometimes when I come up with ideas, I sometimes voice them during a presentation. So that's the quick thinking and decision-making aspect you have to take during a presentation as well. Be in what I like to call I'm the daddy position. So you have to always be on top of things. You got to be, without having to show off, without being a snob, you need to be on top of the conversation. You need to control the conversation that you're having with the people you're having it with. So begin to love questions, and especially from potential partners, and the answer no. So instead of treating the answer no and people asking a lot of questions negatively, I always say this in every single webinar: treat it positively, treat it as a good sign, treat it as a sign that that person is interested and curious, or they're making excuses, that you have to help them realize and, figure it out for themselves. So during this video, if you guys are watching on YouTube, I want you to write down 10 people These could be your friends, your family, your boss, your employees, your colleagues, whoever it is, 10 random people that are pretty close to you that you more or less know. These could be your friends, don't just pick some random person that you've met once, someone who you've spoken to and you sort of know more or less what they are, what they represent, During the webinar, you want to make some notes on these 10 people according to what you're hearing, according to what we're doing in the webinar. I want you to make notes on those 10 people. And by the end of the webinar, you're going to see what results we're going to get. So yeah, take your time. You can pause the video at any time and just keep going when you're ready. Right, so Berg, right? What I like to call Berg. This is blue, yellow, red, and green. The 4 colors are present within each and every person, right? And life, our experiences, what we go through, what we learn throughout our lives creates the proportions of these colors, So the proportions of each and every color in each and every single person differs. And that's what makes us all different, is because we've all got these little traits that come through past experience, through parenting, through education, through whatever it is that you go in life. bad and good, it doesn't matter. It sort of shapes you. And we have to remember there is always a base color. So a base personality, like the roots of a tree, after which there are a mix of colors, but if we figure out the base color of a person, we can more or less get to him and get to the way of thinking that he's thinking and use empathy. And I talk about this as well in my other webinars. Use empathy, put ourselves in their position and help them understand how we can work together. When you need to, you can always work on the base color of your personality. So this is more of like a self-motivation thing, right? So if you notice that you're a bit of too much of something here, you could work on that and be able to mix it up a little bit. You don't always have to be who you are in front of whoever it is that you're presenting to. You have to reflect your clients, reflect your partners, so that you come to an understanding with them. So yeah, don't forget to mix it up and see if you can improve, being able to talk to everyone. Greens, right? So this is the first and my favorite is green. So mind, intellect, and the too smart attitude. So you're going to get what I'm saying now. Who are these people? These are logic-oriented, top achievers, accountants, financial advisors, lawyers, programmers, engineers. You get the gist. This is the green mind, intellect, too smart, types of people. Their way of thinking is, first think, put everything on the shelf, then act. So they're very calculative. You can't approach them just, talking out of where. You got to talk to them facts. They love facts and they love evidence, results. You don't want to, like I say, in the presentations, like, never pour water in your arguments. They don't need the extra information. You just got to give them exactly what it is. What are the results? What have you achieved so far? And so on. In that sense, they are quite simple to work with. But if you don't have your facts straight, you've lost them. These are the types of people. So some of the examples that you could use when you're talking to, Greens, specifically about Sincere Systems Group. If you're marketing Sincere Systems Group, you could be like, so this is the personal dashboard before and after. This is how it's improved. This is how it's become easier to use. So you show them the result. In 6 months, our public pool reached $50 million. Straight away facts. In half a year, the company opened 3 more investment opportunities and soon several more. So simple sentences filled with evidence and facts and results that will convince them. Compound interest gives around this percentage per year of working with our company. The actual registered capital of the company, but is whatever it is, 5 million pounds. And you just show them this presentation or statistics that you have. So what I want you to do, so if you've gotten sort of an idea of what a green person is, I want you to write down 3 facts, okay? Three pieces of evidence of Sincere Systems Group or your company, whatever it is, a marketing firm, wherever you're working for a green person, right? So 3 things that you would say to them about your company or about your product that would, go look really good in the eyes of a person who we count as green, right? Too smart attitude. Some typical green characteristics are they're quite careful, they're neat, always tidy, everything in place. If you touch their, we all know that person, you touch their stuff, it's a fight, it's an argument, don't touch their stuff, speak clearly, conversational order, no topic bouncing. Don't be bouncing around, giving little pieces of information, this is, it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good first. It doesn't really look good with anyone, but with them specifically, with these types of people, you have to finish your thought, give it to them quite straight up, without any, as I mentioned, water, and keep the conversation flowing. No empty conversations, only facts. The gaslight never goes on. This is a great example of a green person. This person's petrol in the car is always either filled to the brim or like it never goes off. The light with the gas light never goes on, and they're also the type of person I like to say the phone bill never runs out. So their phone bills are always paid. Everything's always proper. Everything's done, and they're always curious. The 2 top questions are how much and how. So this you have to keep in mind if you're now pitching an investment instrument like Sincere Systems to them. You've got to keep in mind that these are the main questions that they're going to ask. How much am I going to have to put inside? How to put into the investment, and how does it work? And you got to be clear with those things. When they go to the movies, they check rating, actor, budget, reviews, ticket price, and only then they think about deciding whether they want to go to the movies, right? So they're great at saving money. They don't lend. If they lend, they only under signature and with interest. As I mentioned before, too smart. Greens in business. So theory without experience of practice. Excuse me 1 second. Theory without experience of practice. What that means is a lot of greens typically know a lot. They have a lot of theoretical knowledge, as opposed to practical, and can jump into a project simply with theoretical knowledge. They believe in their mind and they know that they can get it done, even if they have no practical knowledge at all. Now, this can be bad. This can be bad. It is respectable that they do that, and we all know those kind of people. But it's not always good, because practice usually shows us that theory is wrong a lot of the times. So mind wins, switched on, creates results. So if they're on point, they're feeling great, they're always using their brain, that's what generates results for them. If it's a bad day for them, and their head's not in the right place, you can see that that's not a day that you would want to be working with them. So one key little hint is, do not answer every single question that they ask. Not because you want to be an ass to them or something, but they're the kind of people that like to put the puzzle together themselves, and they don't need to. You don't need to feed them like a baby or something, with information and answer every single question. You can answer it even halfway. As long as you give the main facts and details, they'll figure the rest out themselves, and they will become curious because they want to prove that they understand something new and they've learned something new. So if you get a green in business, you're going to get results, simply put. So anyone recognize any of your friends? You can take a minute and pause the video and maybe classify some of the friends that you've written down at the beginning of the list. Let's move on. Blues, the party people of the body, who they are. They're party animals, active lifestyle, action fanatics, creatives, hobbies, famous, singers, artists, actors. You get the gist. Their mindset is what it is what it is. It's the present moment, what it is, that's what's going on, Their aim is, be part of the main event. Focus not on the result, but the fantasy. So focus on the imaginative, the creative aspect. So arguments for the blues, when you're talking about, specifically promoting a company or your product, could be travel, could be networking, communications, hobbies. This is something about, if you're in HR, this is very relevant, because in HR, typically you're working with people and you're trying to convince talent to come and work for a corporation, whatever it is. So if you're faced with a person who's, quite has an active lifestyle, and, he would be classified as blue, you would be, telling him that, hey, we've got loads of, you're going to be traveling quite a lot with us. You're going to be networking, meeting a lot of people. You're going to have, loads of communication work. You can even practice some hobbies. We have like these hobbies that you can practice in the office. We have, I don't know, some yoga classes or something, or we have dance classes going on in the office every single day. And I'm just giving you ideas, because a lot of corporations, for example, a lot of companies actually have like in-house activities. A lot of them have like gyms and tennis courts. We're talking about the big corporates, so this is how they approach them, actually. And a lot of people who are in HR for some time will know that this is true. So an example of what you would say to a blue is, what we do isn't work, it's a hobby, and each one can be a star on a stage. So these are just pure examples of something that blue would like to hear. Our events are online every single day and offline as well. The next one is in Turkey, lots of new connections to be made. Great event organization all day long, 5-star. This is what they love to hear. Our business is the business of communication. You can earn by communicating. This is specifically targeted on partnership and affiliate programs, affiliate marketing. This is great, because you're convincing them that by doing what they're already doing, communicating and chilling and partying with people, they could be making money as well. They could be marketing a company, for example, and getting, commission for that, bonuses. Would you like to hold meetings online and offline? Then your place is with us. With us, you will meet this, that, and the other. Join the circle of people who go skiing, do network clubs, they're into programming, whatever it is. So write down 3 more facts of your company or Sincere Systems Group specifically that would work for a blue person, something that you would tell them. Typical blue characteristics. I'm just going to run through these. I don't want to bore you. So always late, can't get themselves up, exaggerates a lot. True story. The heart of the party, communicative, love travel, active, hobbies, nature, office parties are their style. Attend themed festivals and events, first row in presentations, humorous and interruptive, which can be good and bad, but we always got to be looking at the positive side. They're always interested. Loads of contacts, but can't monetize them. Now, this is very important. This is very important because they could know a lot of people, and this is something really good for you, as a team leader, as team builder aspect of the company or whatever. This is very important. You can help them, teach them to monetize these contacts. Talkative, humorous, always out of cash, easily take streets, swift spenders, but will find cash for a good night out. We all know that one person who's always broke, but when they go out, they go all out, and they somehow find the money to go out. So will die if you leave to Dubai without them, right? And create problems for themselves and solve them. So they like to create problems out of nowhere and then go ahead and solve them themselves. So sometimes they will like to talk about their problems, but they don't actually need your help. They're just going to go and solve them. They need to change for the better when everything is all good. So in Russia, we say, don't fix what's not broken. So this is literally blue. This is the blue mentality, except they go the opposite way, obviously, because whenever things good, they decide to fix it anyway. Blues in business, usually in business for 1 or 2 years without results, focus not on money, but communications, party animals, but business results lag. Such people are needed in every team to keep the vibe up, to keep, the energy up. This is also important. So these are the 2 types of businesses, that you can talk to them about, which is number 1, hello, Seifa, how are you doing, buddy? Number 1 for money, number 2 for the soul. So you got to talk to them and be like, hey, which one is yours, or you got to direct them to whichever one it is that they're going to. Another great description is realization without monetization. That's blue mentality. Typically, I'm not saying everyone, but typically, as I mentioned, we have a lot of colors that go into our personality, a lot of our life experiences, if you're a party animal, doesn't mean that you're bad at business. I know a lot of people who party a lot and are great at business and are great at connecting people. But typically, that's just a personality trait, and whatever you do to not be that, the negative aspect is already different colors coming into play. So you're trying to mix up your personality so that you get the right proportions of everything, so that you can, build a successful sort of path for yourself. Difficult to make them do something. Anyone recognize themselves, and as I mentioned, if you're watching the video, you can write down who of your friends and family are blues, and I'm sure there are some there. Yellows are the soul people, who are they? They're teachers, medical associates, volunteers, social workers, professional advisors from birth, lifeguards. We see a trend here. These are really good people right there, just with the first point, right? So their mindset is kindness, people come first, they're not selfish, and they can't say no, self-blame sort of, thing going on there, which is good and bad. Again, being a good person, a kind person is great, but being too good is also bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're too kind, you have to understand that not everyone is as kind as you, and you're going to be used for that. So that's sort of yellow person mentality. Arguments for yellows that you can use is working with people, helping people, building relationships, and love. Love for what they do, love, for whatever it is, that they're gonna love it. They're gonna enjoy it. They're genuinely gonna be like happy about what they do. Some examples, can you imagine how many people we will help? How many people will become financially independent with Sincere Systems Group? That's something you would say. All you need is love. We create workspace for others. In our company, we value relationship building. These are some great phrases that you can use with people who are yellow, because they feel the need to go and help other people and help people understand. So when you explain to them that you're going to be helping people figure something out that's going to change their life, this is a huge motivation for them. So you can be signing up partners that way as well. We value our partners and investors. Our goal is to lead people to financial freedom. Write down 3 facts of Sincere Systems Group working for a yellow person. So what do you know about Sincere Systems that you could say to a yellow person? Whether it's whatever it is, I'm going to leave it up to you. I'm not going to give you any, examples. It's pretty clear stuff. You can watch some of the other webinars that are available, but yeah, go ahead and write that down. So typical yellow characteristics: very kind soul, always ready to help, take on responsibilities. They're often cheated. If they did get tricked, they won't tell anyone because they would be embarrassed. Lend money and never get it back. Love everyone but themselves, quiet, never let you down. Even if they don't have money, will go borrow it just so they don't create discomfort for you, which is actually respectable. I don't know if in some way that should be meant as a negative aspect, but I feel that's actually respectable. Because they don't let anyone down, which I feel is very important. In an elevator, first to go in, but if there's too many people, first one to go out, which is, we all know that person. Helps clean up when visiting friends. Let's go to the movies. They say no. All you have to say is please, and they agree. So speak quietly and very well mannered. Yellows in business. They're great at team building, will never leave a man behind. Yellows are the glue to a team, and this is what makes them extremely important. They will handle everything, resolve arguments, help everyone, can be trusted with tasks, will not let you down. Yellows should learn not to borrow, but to invest in themselves, will trust other people with their contacts, which is really important as well. So they're cool with spreading the word. They don't look for, most of the time, they don't look for, personal benefit, so to speak, financial benefit. Like, I know a lot of people, including myself, who, probably wouldn't do that with everyone, just spread a bunch of contacts to, of the connections that I have, for example. I'm not going to, but a yellow person would do that, because they're cool with that. They probably won't even ask for anything in return. So who recognize themselves? Go ahead and note down, pause the video if you're watching on YouTube, and let's continue. Last but not least, we have reds, strong in the heart. We have the brave hearts right here. Who are they? Athletes, businessmen, entrepreneurs, innovators, leaders, investors. Mindset: I am where the money is, will achieve results no matter what. Quick decision makers, never owe anyone anything. This is extremely important. They never get in debt. I decide: attitude, egoistic manner, me first. First place is all about me. 111, I, me. That's all reds. Arguments for reds: all you got to talk about big checks, man. That's the first thing. Being the first, getting a lot of money. Facts and kindness will lead to decision. Become green and yellow when with them. That's a great tip. So when you're talking to a red and you can clearly see that they're a red, following what I just said, you got to be a green and a yellow with them, right? If you're a red with them, and you're mirroring them, if they're red, that's not going to work out, because a red always has to be, on top in the conversation. You don't have to. You can let him be on top in a conversation, or an argument, but you can approach him in another way. It's that kind of person. So the only way to be with a red and to convince them to do something is to be a green or a yellow. Logic or kind-hearted, openness, sort of. That's what works with them. Examples: you're going to be the first in town. Imagine how much money you could make. I bet you that 2 months before the Dubai trip to make 13% ROI. Most probably won't be possible. Our goal: leads people to financial freedom. Join us while your friends haven't asked you yet. Again, just a couple examples of something that you would use against a person who's red. Write down 3 facts of Sincere Systems Group that would work for a red person. Something about Sincere Systems that would definitely take them on. Like you could say, Sincere Systems, we've got, we've achieved a 13% ROI for the past 10 months, every single month, and most of my clients have broken even, in the past 9 months. That's something you would use for a red or a green. Something factual, but something that makes them desire it a lot. Or you could be getting 13% per month. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? Like, your friends are doing it. Do you know anyone who's investing? What they're doing, and why aren't you doing it? Make them want to be there, or before anyone else. Typical red characteristics, as I mentioned, first place, I, conversation is held in first person, me. Number one priority, money, first people to receive information, very important. First to be on the leaderboard, like to be ranked, like to have competition, which is always healthy. A little bit of competition, too much is also bad, but competition is great. Work for themselves, typically C students, bad at taking orders, self-affirmed through weak people, better to grow partners above your level and then race them to first place. So they could, grow a lot of people in their teams. The red people could grow a lot of people in their teams, and then let them take off, and not do, their best just so people, go ahead and then just take over as fast as possible, just to prove to themselves that, they can do it 10 times better than anyone. So very fast decision makers, hungry for first place, can't rest, always too less, love their environment. So when you talk to a red person, everything in their life is going great, always. A red person will never complain. They love everyone who they talk to. They love everything that's going on in their life, So this is really cool to keep in mind. And that's a great thing, by the way. It's like a self-motivational thing. So a very egoistic approach, but I don't know. I personally agree with it. It's better to be that than to, be weak, sort of. But we all have different personalities. So it's up to us at the end of the day. Reds in business. Quickly take cities over, qualified market, results at any price, good at selling, buying the idea of money. They're great at selling what money is, and they're great at buying the idea of money. So money is red. With red people, you got to talk to them about selling money, because these people know how to sell money. They know how to sell opportunity. Selling them charities is BS. You're not going to get any results with that. You're not going to tell a red person about charity. Never, ever. They're just going to look at you like, are you crazy? Like, it's not what I do. A red person in business, especially young people, that just doesn't work out. Can't work below someone in a team, create their own thing. So this is important to keep in mind. You can have them in your team, it's very good for you, obviously, as a team leader. But don't expect them, don't make them even come to group meetings or something. Don't make them do that, because they're not that type of person. They work alone. They're like lone wolves who achieve everything by themselves. They like to do their own thing. So let them work. Don't stress them out. Don't argue with them. Just, give them some pointers here and there and help them on the way. They're very ambitious, and they're actually leaders in MLM. So if you look at any MLM, successful MLM person in affiliate marketing, multi-level marketing, or multi-crowd investing companies nowadays, they're talking about, which barely exist, by the way. It's quite a new thing. They're all reds. All the founders are reds. You will not see, like, it's insane. Like these are money people. These are people who talk about money, who recognize themselves. Go ahead, write them down. Yes, you can pause the video and do that. So for teamwork, right? So how do you work with all these people in a team? You got to press the right buttons, right? So if you want to motivate each and every member, you can't just go ahead with one approach. You got to, sort yourself out. Like, these guys, they listen like this. These guys take it like this. These guys don't ever come to my presentations anyway. I can just give them some presentations once every couple of days. I'll just send them some new content and they can do it themselves. For yellows, people are great, but first learn to love yourself. This is what you would tell a yellow person. Buy yourself something expensive. Don't lend money to anyone. Money won't come until you learn to love yourself. So this is sort of how you would motivate your team. For yellows, this is what you would say. For blues, stop partying for now. Let's business first and we party later. This is important, because blues sometimes do get carried away, which is fine. But this is how you would work with a blue, for example. For greens, stop talking to your brain, get practical, start doing. Stop being inside your head all the time. Get to doing whatever you're thinking. Let's put it out on paper. Let's get working. What ideas are floating around in your mind? This is the sort of thing maybe there's something going on in their life they're overthinking. You got to help them through that. You got to help them beat the barrier of being too smart, because that's a barrier too. You got to understand, when you're always used to having a logical approach and you always have so many ideas floating in your mind, it's going to be extremely difficult to actually go ahead and do something with that. The theory, too much theoretical work, too less practical. For reds, stop showing off, don't argue, don't prove anything. So when you're talking to a red, you don't need to argue with them or whatever. You don't have to say that to them either, like, don't argue. But you could, if you're telling a red person how to work with clients, you could say, Just keep it cool. You don't need to argue with your client. You can keep it real, keep it chilled out. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Try not to use the I and me words when working with potential partners. So that's something you would tell a red, because reds, and they know that, if they're your partner, they trust you, they love you so much, they're gonna understand that you're trying to help them out here. You're not their enemy. You're giving them some real advice right here. So conclusion, every single one of those members is great in a team. There can't be a team without any of them. In every person, there are several colors, ideally 25% each, but that's impossible. So in every person, we're going to try to achieve, being 25% red, 25% yellow, blue, green, whatever. That's the ideal, but we all know that there's no such thing as ideal people. And thank God for that. Otherwise, it would be a very boring world. Strong colors appear. So one funny thing to notice is if you have two reds in a family, that's huge. Like that's a big no-no. That's a big no-no. Like, not gonna say personal example right here, but I know what that means. So two reds in a family is a huge argument, huge issues, but two reds in a business, that's fantastic. That's gonna go through the roof. Funny, right? But it's always the context and the environment that you're taking that person into. Call blues to front seat at presentations, yellows at the back. So blues, I'll put them, if you're sorting out a presentation, you're doing the seating plan, or you're sort of encouraging people to sit somewhere, whoever's blue, you want to sit them at the front because they're most interactive with your presentations. They're going to be interrupting, asking questions, blah, 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 blah. You want to keep the energy going in the room. These are the people who sit in the front. The yellows are at the back. Okay. The reds will most likely leave the presentation, so you don't have to care about them. You should just be nice to them and let them come in and sit and leave whenever they want. Greens will either sit at the back or will not come at all. So greens, they need typically a personal approach, because the way the way you need to approach them is very unique. With facts and evidence, it doesn't work with everyone. If you approach a blue person and you give them just straight up numbers and statistics, they're not going to get you. They're going to say, yo, this is boring. Like, I want so what's the cool thing about this company? And you say, well, actually, we've got this, that, and the other. We've got these activities. We got these cool webinars. We got this. And that's when a blue person goes like, hell yeah, why didn't you start with that? So you're not going to do the green approach. You're not going to approach a group of different people with a green approach, because everyone's just going to fall asleep. The green person won't, but there's not going to be a full room of greens, Another approach would be if you have a huge team, is to do separate presentations for separate types of people, which could be really interesting. So if you gather a bunch of reds in a room and you gather a bunch of blues in a room and yellows in separate presentations, you can see how that works out. But it's always good to have a mix. So not as much for reds and greens. We speakers have to be multicolored. This is very important. So when you're presenting a presentation, in order to attract everyone and keep harmony in the team and continue the life of the team, so to speak, you have to be friends with everyone. You have to be the leader. You really have to be a team leader. You need to be able to work with reds. You need to be able to work with blues. You need to be able to trust yellows to do their job at gluing the team together and handling arguments and everything, whatever is going on. It's a family, it's a family thing. So conclusion, what color are you? Did you manage to find out? Seifa knows he's blue. I know that already. What was the most valuable thing you learned today? And what are your insights? That's rhetorical. You don't have to tell me, but you can just, keep that in mind. I hope you learned, I hope you did learn something new. And how to quickly check, let's just really conclude real quick. So me, that's a base red right there. If you hear the word me a lot, that's it. If they're second in line, to do whatever, that's a blue, and greens, let me see what happens and think about it. If you hear that phrase, let me see what happens and I'll think about it, whatever, that's a green. That's a green most likely, or it's an excuse, depends on the mix within the person. And yellows, just let everyone go first and they'll go last. That's a yellow straight up. If you see someone just letting people go through, that's a yellow, because they're like too nice. Anyways, I wish you many active team members and happy partnerships, guys. Thank you so much for watching my webinar. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Finance Nick, and contact me if you have any questions at all. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Cheers. Yo.